that are in here now were lined up early today. I'm talking about noon. Thankfully, a beautiful day to stand out in line outside.
No, Mark Pope is certainly going to be bringing the energy today. You can probably feel it in this building right now. He's going to be walking into this insane environment.
Grateful for the players from '96 and through the generations at Kentucky who have actually made this place what it is. I'm grateful to every single one of you. That's a big reason why I'm back here. And more than anything else, what separates from everybody else, we have great coaches, players, administrators, but what makes us different than everybody else is you all. I'm so grateful for you. We are here to win banners. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Let's go, Cats. Let's go, Cats.
Welcome to historic Memorial Coliseum on the campus of the University of Kentucky, where dreams can come true. And tonight, a roster full of Wildcats dreaming of a career in the NBA will get a chance to show off their skills at UK Men's Basketball Pro Day here at UK. Hi again, everybody. I'm Dick Gabriel, and we said it's historic Memorial Coliseum. Part of that history, sitting right next to me, the All-American Jack Givens, who played his first 2 seasons here. Jack, you reached the pinnacle that these guys would love to match. You played in the NBA. You know what it's like to grab that dream.
Yeah, and even before that, Gabe, the one thing that all of these guys want is to win a championship.
Right.
I mean, I think that's what comes first. And Mark Pope is making sure these guys understand that that's the reason they're here. Listen, Gabe, every one of these guys have never gone through a night like they're going to go through tonight. Yeah, pro scouts have seen them play, of course. But they're here especially for them tonight, and that's going to be really special.
Representatives from every team in the league looking in, and here's what they'll see, Jack, and quite frankly, it's a normal practice.
It is a normal practice, and these guys have gone through this all the way back in the summer when they were working. They have executed all of these drills. We'll see them go through some of them, and we'll be able to talk you through some of them. But, yeah, it's going to be fun. A lot of shooting drills tonight. They'll do some defense if you look at the shell drill and that kind of stuff, but these guys want to shoot the basketball. That's what they're going to be about. So we'll see a lot of that tonight.
They'll get a chance to show off their footwork, their defense, but they will shoot the ball. And on this roster, buddy, there are a lot of shooters. And I'll tell you what, a defender, an elite defender, several, but Lamont Butler from San Diego State is a guy to keep an eye on. And, of course, there are 2 true freshmen from the state of Kentucky, Trent Noah, Travis Perry. They went off against each other in the Sweet 16 title game. Now they are teammates, so it's going to be fun to watch them matriculate. Jackson Robinson making a lot of people turn heads. Amari Williams from England, so it's going to be fun to watch these guys.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. You mentioned the 2 guys from Kentucky, and they will be compared probably unfairly to a guy we just lost here, last name Shepard. I won't go into that too much, but they'll be compared to him. But both of these guys are talented players. You saw some names on the team. Some of you may not be familiar with, but you will know them before this season is over. This is a great opportunity for them to show they belong on this size stage, and that's what they're going to go through every game.
You know what was interesting when Mark Pope built this roster? He basically built it from the ground up, meaning defense, rebounding, went out and got himself some shooters. But even the bigs like to shoot the ball and make.
And that's going to be a big part of his offense. But the thing Mark did was he knew the kind of players he wants. He knows the kind of players that will fit his system. He didn't have to just take guys because everybody who was in the portal wanted to come to Kentucky, so he took his time. He went out, he shopped around, he found bigs who are good at spreading the floor, not the traditional back to the basket type big that you might see a lot of places. So he found those, he got plenty of shooters, and guys who can shoot the ball far out, Gabe. So it's going to be fun. No
That's
question
Andrew
about
Carr looking for a shot, but called for the travel. He'll be fun to see. He had a great career at Wake Forest.
That's the guy who can shoot it.
Right there.
Yes, Brea. He can flat shoot the rock. And another one of those guys that there's no range as to how far out he can shoot the basketball.
That's a guy who specialized in coming off the bench, twice named Atlantic 10 Sixth Man of the Year. Unselfishly coming off the bench, but led the nation in three-point percentage. So when he checks in, you'll hear other teams shouting, shooter.
Gabe, I love this drill they're working on right now. You'll see one guy, and he has to go out and guard 4 positions. He's playing against smaller, quicker guys, or in the case of a guard in that position, playing against big dudes. You have to defend those guys. That's an excellent drill, high-energy drill. That's going to help them defensively.
That was Brandon Garrison, the transfer from Oklahoma State.
7-footer.
Who made the defensive stop, 5th in the Big 12 in blocks last year. Total of 47. That was the 5th most for a freshman among the Cowboys. You will like the way he plays in the low post.
The thing you'll like most about him is how just eager he is to learn. And he's already more skilled than you would think for a guy who is so young.
Yeah,
but
sophomore.
he knows the game. He thinks the game, which fits right into Pope's system as well.
You know, in his debut against Baylor, he went 7 for 7 from the floor, 6 for 6 from the free throw line. So he set that bar pretty high, didn't he?
He does, but he is anxious to prove what he can do. There are a lot of teams that came after this guy.
Yeah.
So most everybody was surprised that he decided to come to Kentucky, but he kind of had Kentucky in the back of his mind for a long time before he had to make the decision. So he's very happy to be here.
McDonald's All-American, Jordan All-Star, and as we said, just a sophomore, so a chance to really blossom here under Mark Pope. And it's interesting, Jack, his style of coaching. You played for several different coaches here for Coach Joe B. Hall. Mark will raise his voice now and then, but oftentimes he'll lower his voice to make sure these guys are leaning in and paying attention to what he's saying.
He does, but the thing that he really gets fired up about is when the players are coaching each other.
Yes.
I mean, it was interesting talking to him this afternoon. He said, just like most programs, there's some issue with communication among the players, and coaches always want guys to talk more, to communicate. And he finally sat down and talking to his other coach, he said, you know what? Maybe they're not talking because we're talking too much as a coaching staff. So they want the players to do the coaching among themselves and figuring things out.
Kirk Kriisa wearing number 77 this year. Of course, players now aren't restricted by the numbers. Number 1, that's Lamont Butler. And he can shoot it.
Now this is
not just a defensive specialist.
Yeah, this is a traditional 3-on-2 break. Another guy will come in late, and now it's 3-on-3, just playing basketball and figuring out how to score or defend in the case right there.
Kobe Brea bringing it down. Third defender joins. Andrew Carr inside. Good hands by Almanor.
Now Andrew Carr will shoot that basketball from the wing, and that's kind of what Mark Pope's offense is all about. He wants those bigs shooting just right there. That's what he wants, and if you pass that shot up, you're not playing the style he wants you to play.
Colin Chandler with another miss, true freshman. Gatorade Utah Player of the Year. You're going to like his game as well. Number 1 player in the state of Utah, of course, and that's Jackson Robinson. Speaking of Utah, came in from Brigham Young.
Yeah, Jackson Robinson is a player, man. He is one of those guys who knows the game. The advantage he has right now over everybody else on the team is that he knows Mark Pope's system. So you'll see it done what is the word I'm looking for? Perfectly is what I'm looking for. You'll see it done when he has the ball and when he's on the floor.
Pride of Harlan County, Trent. No one knocks down a triple. We'll step out. We're here at historic Memorial Coliseum. When we come back, Kirk Creesa chats with us here on SEC Plus. Kurt, this is your third stop in college basketball, Arizona, West Virginia, but your first experience with Pro Day. What's this been like for you?
It's been cool. Usually the last 4 years that I've been in college, I've been watching it from TV. When the guys go through the draft and my old teammates, but just to get to do it myself, it was a good experience. And as a competitor, I think it's fun that you get your results and everybody else's results are online, so you can compare and kind of see where you need to improve and what is the average number. So it's been good.
I know you like to distribute the ball, team player, but today is as much about individual skills. What are you hoping to show?
I'm just showing who I am. For me, it's another day. I'm not gonna be somebody who I'm not. I'm not gonna give extra energy just because there's few important guys in the house. I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna be who I've been, all my career, all my life, and for me, it's another day.
You are, like I said, a guy who passes the basketball, but you shoot it well as well. That's going to be your role with this Kentucky team, right?
Yeah, we get to shoot a lot of threes, and
you like that?
Yeah, because three is more than two.
Yeah,
so
very good.
So people are like, oh, he doesn't shoot layups, but why? I shoot threes.
What has it been like being a part of this group that has come together in a way no other basketball team in the history of this school has come together, with all the new faces, and you got to get to know each other in a relatively short amount of time?
Honestly, it's been amazing. Just like having this veteran group that we have, and guys being in college 5 years. Guys are, we're making fun in locker room how old we are college-wise. So it's been a pretty smooth transition, and also I got guys who I played against. So it's we have a very good squad. I'm very very excited for season to start. Yeah.
You like the chemistry?
Oh, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And I think that's that's a big part that our coach is preaching is the culture, and I think even if coach wasn't preaching that, the guys are mature enough and old enough to understand that this wins games and it's important, and it's really been it's been a blessing.
You're from Estonia.
Yes, sir.
I have to admit, I had to go to the internet to find out exactly where that was.
Well, you're not the only one.
I was going to say, you're hearing that a lot, aren't you?
Yeah.
But tell me about it's an overused term, but the journey, but in your case, it's literal, from Estonia all the way to Lexington, Kentucky, and you're playing in front of NBA scouts.
Yeah, I think that just shows how amazing basketball is and what basketball can do in your life. Estonia, for people who don't know, 1 million people. My hometown, 100,000 people. Our Kroger field here, football field is, my whole hometown would fit it in, in there. So I think it's just, I'm taking one day at a time. Obviously, it's super cool to play in front of scouts, but like I said, for me, it's another day. I'm just happy that I get to play basketball another day.
Kurt, thanks. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
7 points per game, Jack, nearly 5 assists, and 42.5% from beyond the arc.
I love that part of it for sure. A couple of things about this guy that I've noticed since he's been here. Number one, how leaders kind of rise to the top.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to have someone tell you you're the leader or proclaim yourself as the leader. But true leaders, it kind of just rises up and guys start to follow. I've noticed that with him from these guys. They kind of look at him and look to him to kind of guide them, especially the two young guys standing right next to him, Trent Noah and Travis Perry. they go to him for leadership. And then another thing he said in the interview, Gabe, that it's going to be apparent, and we're going to hear it often, with the experience on this team.
Yes.
He said. And I think that's going to be one of the many things that carries this group, because they are experienced, and you don't have to tell them every little thing. And that's going to be good. But he's been fun to watch thus far.
And we mentioned he likes to distribute the ball. At Arizona, 2 straight years, he leads the Pac-12 in assists. And he is one of only 5 Pac-12 players to have multiple triple-doubles in his career. So he can do it all.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, which makes it tough if you're on the other team, is he talks a lot of garbage, man. He talks a lot of trash, but it's like when I used to play against Larry Bird. He'd talk garbage to me, and then he'd go out and do it. So I couldn't say anything.
Couldn't give it back to him either.
This guy is a whole lot like that, man. He talks a lot, but he loves playing. That's very obvious.
Here we are in October. It is the greatest month for college sports. So much overlap going on. A fun football season, soccer, volleyball, basketball, and there's a lot coming up with Kentucky basketball. Obviously, Pro Day today. Madness coming up Friday. What a great tradition.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the blue-white game, the 2 exhibitions against a good Wesleyan team and a really good Minnesota State Mankato team. But I'll tell you what, Madness, it's always fun.
Oh, it's always fun. I'm anxious to see this floor,
Yes,
Gabe.
sir.
Everybody's talking about. It's one of the first. It is the first time this court that is illuminated and really fun to watch a game on. First time that's going to be used, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, everybody looks forward to Big Blue Madness.
If you haven't seen it yet, this is wild. How would you like to play on a floor like that?
Well, I don't know that I would enjoy playing on it necessarily, because I'd be looking at the graphics and everything that's going on, and next thing I know, the ball's smacking me right in the face because I'm watching what's on the floor. But this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Another example, Gabe, and I know I played here, I get it. I grew up here in Lexington, but Kentucky basketball is special.
Yes, sir.
And for Kentucky to get the first crack at using this particular floor at their home court at Rupp Arena still speaks volumes to what Kentucky basketball is. And this guy on your screen right there, he fully understands that. He grabs onto it, and he's drilling it into his players.
Well, he tweeted after the announcement that they would be using that floor about how excited he was about it. Well, why not? He knows, just like you, and he only spent 3 years here, how special this place can be and what Kentucky basketball means.
And I like hearing him coach. I mean, he doesn't step in on every play.
And he's as encouraging as he is.
Well, he is, but guess what, Gabe? He asks a question.
That's right.
He threw a question out there. What happened that time that was so good, or what did he miss? And he forces the other player, or one of the players, he forces them to answer. He doesn't look to another assistant coach. He looks to the guys and said, what went right, what went wrong, and let them figure it all out.
You can listen in for yourself. Coach Mark Pope is wired.
This place we're standing in right now is like special sacred ground right here. Some of the greatest Kentucky players ever to play the game, and some other like all-time greats in the history of the game made history here on this floor, so it's super cool. I'm grateful that we get to be in here for our first day.
Do you think we have the most handsome fives in the country? I think so. We might have the most handsome fives in the country. Maybe, yeah, maybe.
And so Walter McCarty got me, I still have a big scar right here. Walter McCarty got me the big time elbow, and my incisor tooth came right through my cheek right there. So my tooth was sticking out my cheek, and we couldn't get my cheek off. Blood everywhere. It was one of the greatest things. You think we can run that back today?
You're gonna have to fix.
Hey, let's rinse out. Come on, rinse out. Here we go. Rinse out. Let's go.
Work on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Actually said it was one of the greatest things. I don't know that I would remember something like that.
Well, I've got some stories to share
No
about
doubt.
stuff that happened in practice that I wouldn't necessarily call the greatest thing that has happened, but I had to go through some stuff that was not a lot of fun. Those kind of
Let me
events.
guess, either James Lee or LaVon Williams.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of them.
But
I remember breaking my nose, having
What?
my nose broken in practice.
Oh, wait a minute, I remember that.
This
You tried to play with a mask.
Yeah, I played with a mask for a while. All that kind of stuff happens, man. But it's part of basketball, and it makes memories.
You got to appreciate the fact that he said this is hallowed ground, not because he played here, but all, as you mentioned, the greats, you're one of them.
Well, I played in this building, but even back when I was playing, Gabe, when you walked into Memorial Coliseum, it felt like basketball. It felt like there were some good games in my system that was just waiting to come out. And you're right, when you think about all of the great players, the Dan Issels, and I can go on and on and on with all the great players who played in this building, you want to be a part of it. Now, these guys won't remember anything about those kind of days, but one thing is, guys know when they're in a building that's built for basketball, and that's what this building is.
I told a couple of them that the varsity used to play here, and their eyes got a little wide. I said, well, there were more seats here back then, and the ceiling was a little bit lower. But what a home court advantage. And we must tip our caps to anybody and everybody who had anything to do with a renovation here, starting with Mitch Barnard. He wrote the check,
Yeah.
$82 million. Man, they did a great job.
Oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful facility. The main thing that you notice as soon as you come in here, the number one thing is that I didn't break out in a sweat. They put air conditioning in the building, and I'm sitting here freezing as opposed to trying to find to get under one of those big fans to cool me off. But that's the first thing. But the floor is brand new. The lighting is new. You can tell it's very bright in here. They have done so many other things, concourse area everywhere in the building. It's just a beautiful facility. Put chairbacks in a whole lot more places than they were. Left some of the bench seats, but that's part of Memorial Coliseum.
When we come back, Kobe Brea, the transfer from Dayton, will join us. You're watching Kentucky. Kobe, you have a real varied skill set. What do you hope the scouts notice about you tonight?
Yeah, just to continue showing my shooting ability, and what more I could bring to the team, also just playmaking, leadership, defense on the other end, and, just keep showing that I'm not just a shooter, but I'm actually more than that.
Well, that's why you were two-time Sixth Man of the Year in the A-10. What do you think that tells the scouts?
Yeah, I think that just shows that, I'm able to accept the role. Everybody wants to be a starter nowadays, but sometimes, that's not what you're brought into a team to do. And so, I'm just able to bring a spark off the bench, and whatever the team needs, whatever the coach needs, I'm willing to do that. So,
you're a guy who can come off the bench and start knocking down threes, which is not easy if you haven't even broken a sweat yet. Have you always been able to do that?
Yeah, I think it's just about being ready, just waiting your turn and understanding where in the game we are, and what's needed. And sometimes, games start off a little slow and the coaches just need somebody to come in, hit a couple shots to get things going a little bit. And that's something that I've always been able to do, and, I'll continue to do.
When Mark Pope came to you about playing here, how soon did he tell you about how much you guys are going to shoot three-pointers? Was that before or after you agreed?
Oh, he ain't waste no time saying that. He did not waste no time. That was probably the first thing he told me, that we're going to be a team that's going to be shooting threes all game long, and he made a note that he wants to be the team that shoots the most threes actually the whole season. And so that kind of just shows how much of a perfect system this is for me and what I do. And we have a lot of guys that are able to do the same thing, so it's going to be pretty interesting.
From being at practice and around here today, it's pretty easy to see. You guys like being around each other. Yeah. How big is that for a team coming together like this?
I think that's the biggest thing, just making sure that the team chemistry is right. Throughout the season, there's going to be adversity. There's going to be times where we're going to need the person next to us, and just like you said, anytime people see us, they see automatically that we're just a group that bonds well together, and I think that's really important for us off the court, but it's, like, even more on the court. So that'll definitely be shown.
Thanks a lot. Have fun tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Jack, that's a man after your own heart. Led the nation in three-point percentage, hit 100 of 201. That's the best mark in NCAA basketball in 6 years.
Yeah, it's easy to say he can shoot the basketball, but there's one thing shooters must have, and that is confidence. And the confidence that he plays with shines through, and a lot of times also you hear, well, you missed one, you missed two, you have to be willing to take that third shot or that fourth shot. He seems to understand that. Now, with that percentage, there weren't many stretches where he missed that many in a row, but basketball is basketball, and there are going to be nights when that shot is harder to get to go into the basket than others. He plays with so much confidence. Now, he needs to kind of figure out, what else can I be good at? What else can I do to show these scouts that I am not just a shooter? And I would tell him to look at Antonio Reeves and the jump he made from his junior year to his senior year.
Good point.
He was known as a shooter, Reeves was. By the time he left last year, he was a scorer in addition to being a shooter. And I think that's what he has to do as well. He's been working on that already.
Well, you're talking about confidence, and I remember a young Jack Givens who played and practiced here telling me that, I don't know if you use the word great, but a good shooter knows the next one's going in.
Yeah.
That's where you don't lose confidence.
No matter how many you miss. And I was coaching a player once, and she came over to me, and she said, Coach, I just can't make a shot. I just can't make a shot. And I said, Stephanie, I said, how many shots have you missed? Coach, I've missed 6 shots. She said, I've missed 6. I told her, I said, that's your problem. She looked at me like I was crazy. Said, yeah, Coach, I know I'm missing shots. I said, no, the fact that you're missing shots is not the problem. The fact that you know how many you missed is the problem. Forget about what you've missed. There's nothing you can do about that, and Brad knows that. Think about that next shot, and that's what he's so good at.
Also, go find one you can make.
Make a layup.
Yeah.
Get out on the fast break.
Yeah.
Get fouled. Get to the free throw line. All of those kind of things. And offensive players, they know that. And he's a pro as far as his offense is concerned.
Well, against Arizona in the NCAA tournament, to your point, 14 points, but 4 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 assists. I mean, he did it all.
Stat sheet stuffer. That's what you have to figure out how to be.
Now, you can see what's happening here. Look who's talking. Mostly the players are talking among each other, staff members as well. But Mark Pope likes the fact that, and you mentioned this earlier, they really help each other, talk to each other, and parrot the things that the coaches have been telling them.
Well, and that's one thing you'll notice in the games. The first thing you'll notice is that the coaches will huddle out on the floor before they get to the huddle. They will have their own huddle. And while the players are there in the circle by themselves, they will be coaching each other up. They will be talking. And sometimes the coaches will break out of their huddle and come to join, and they'll just stand back and listen. They won't even get involved if they're hitting on the right stuff. And then they'll say, okay, let's go play. They may not add anything. Now, Mark might say, and then in addition to that, do this. But these guys are veterans enough that they coach themselves.
That was Mark Fox in the other huddle, the former Georgia coach who hired that young man, Mark Pope, who decided, man, school's not for me. I am going to be a basketball coach. I've not yet had a chance to ask him. Today didn't seem like the right time. What did your parents have to say? What did your family think when you gave up a fledgling medical career? But look where it got him.
Yeah, he's here. He's here. Now, he can maybe fall back on that if he has to. But I think the contract he got, I think he's going to be set for a long time, don't you?
He'll be all right.
Think he'll be all right?
Well, he's been successful everywhere he's been. Utah Valley State, overachieved. Brigham Young overachieved. And there you got a good look at Kerr Creasa knocking down a shot. By the way, it's Kerr, not Kerr, but Kerr because he's named for Steve Kerr. His dad was a big Steve Kerr fan. Now, his favorite player is Steve Nash.
Yeah, yeah. And he's also because he's not from Kentucky, and we say it differently.
That's
here.
true.
I mean, the accent that we have. So I'm glad you got that straightened out. Yes.
You can hear Jackson Robinson, that's him, number 2, talking in the huddle, transfer from Brigham Young. While we're at it, why don't we listen in once again to Coach Mark Pope. He's wired.
Good, Mont. Good power play, Mont. Good power play, Mont. Get in there, BG. Way to shoot it, BG. First of all, Andrew Carr guarding like crazy all year long, okay? What I would like from you right now, because you have the mismatch right here, the switch, I'd like for you to like talk to him. Be like, hey, Drew, I'm hearing this gap, right? So he knows he's got a little more safety coming middle than he does working all the way to the baseline, okay? So make sure to use your voice. Good job, boys. Way to move your feet, Drew. You okay?
And once again, challenging his players to think. Don't think too much, don't overthink, but read the angles and play it that way.
You know, and it's funny how coaches deliver the message. Now, I could sit here and I could think and I could tell you a million ways various coaches have delivered that in a more aggressive, demonstrative way. But with Mark Pope, he gets the same message across, but he does it in a way that players want to hear it. They're willing to hear it. It's not, you know, you need to step in and you need to, you know, step in. Let him know you're here because it's going to make him better, going to make you better. And players relate to that kind of coaching in a very positive way. So he's on to something with his style and the way he does it.
It's also an advantage for him, obviously, even though what a challenge to put a roster together,
Oh,
literally
man.
from scratch. But he's got so much experience. This is one of the it is the oldest team in UK history,
Oh,
but it's
without a
one of the
doubt.
oldest clearly in the country. So these guys have all been coached by multiple coaches, even in college. For some guys, it's the second, third stop in their college career. So you don't have to spoon feed it to them or scare them, right?
Yeah, yeah. You know, and they are now at the stage. I'm talking about the players. See that right there, that kind of play.
Yeah.
There's no communication, just eye contact. But they're at the stage right now where they are over that, I have to be nice to this guy because we're a new team and I don't want to say anything to offend the guy. I want to make sure he knows I like him. The players are past that now. They expect you to deliver on this level and take advantage of your talent. And that is what we're starting to see more and more with this team.
That was Garrison with the dunk, and the tap out heads up play by Amari Williams. More to come. It's Kentucky Basketball Pro Day here on SEC Plus. Lamont Pro Day is big. It's when dreams can come true. How excited are you to show off your skills?
I'm very excited. I mean, it's been a dream of mine for a long time to play in the NBA. So, I'm really excited to have them, come out here, see me and my teammates. And, it's just another prep day for us to get ready for our season. So it's going to be a fun day.
You have Final Four experience, so a lot of scouts have already seen you. What have they seen in Lamont Butler?
I think they've seen that I'm a winner. I do anything to go out there and win. I think I'm a high-level defender. I hang my hat on that end, and then offensively, I feel like my game is continuing to grow. I feel like I'm a great facilitator, and then just getting my shot up to par, and just making shots at the end of the day. And I feel like I've improved in that. I'm ready to show that today.
Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year, and people don't really understand. They do play defense in the NBA, don't they?
Yeah.
So you need to excel here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's going to be a great year for us.
That's something you bring to this team, but you bring scoring. Do you think that's overlooked a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think I've put a lot more into my, offensive game, and then, just Coach Pope's offense is going to be, great for me to, open up my game, and, I'm going to just go out there, play hard, try to find my teammates, and, score when I need to.
It's easy to see when you guys go 5-on-5 in practice. You're a leader. You got the ball in your hands, so you got to be. I got to think you enjoy that role.
Yeah, I mean, as a point guard, you got to be a leader, like you said. From the greats like Chris Paul, guys in the league now, John Morant, they're very vocal, and they lead by example as well. So I'm a guy that tries to go out there every day, just set an example for the team, set the tone, and try to be just a great role model for everybody.
Just about everybody on this roster is an experienced college player. You got 3 freshmen, but otherwise, lots of years in the game. Have they given themselves over? Do they want to be led?
Yeah, no, that's one thing that we, that I, admire from everybody else is that, everybody, no matter how much college experience they have, they're willing to be led, and they want me to, go out there and, be a leader. So, I definitely admire that from them, letting me, become a leader with, all these older guys. So I'm very thankful. I'm just, ready for the year to start.
Everybody knows this team's going to shoot and shoot a lot. Well, we'll find out. But Mark Pope started building with defense when he put this roster together. That's going to make you feel pretty good.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the head of the snake there. Me and Amari, I feel like we're, we're the top defenders on the team. We just set the tone every day in practice. So, just try to, get the guys up to that. I feel like if we guard, and, whole team's a low point, it's going to be hard to beat us because, like you said, we can shoot the ball at a high level. So I think we're going to be scoring the ball a lot. So if we can guard, it's going to be hard to beat us.
You're a long way from San Diego, but you're playing basketball at Kentucky, so I've got to think that pretty good trade-off.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's going to be a great year. Kentucky is one of the biggest programs in the nation, so it's a blessing, and I'm very grateful to be here, and I just can't wait to go out there and show what I can do.
Thanks. Good luck to you.
Sir. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Good job. Not just the Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year, Jack Evans, but 3 straight years on the all-defensive team, but scored more than 1,000 at San Diego State. And get this, in high school, Riverside Poly High School, passed as the all-time scorer a guy named Reggie Miller, who was like you, no conscience.
Right.
So this guy can put in the basket.
Yeah, Gabe, I'm still trying to learn all these guys as well, but I'd like to kind of come up with a favorite or two, if you will. The first time I came to practice this summer, I saw him across the floor. I saw him, and he was looking at me. He was trying to figure out. He didn't know, never said anything. Next time I came back to practice, he came up to me, and he said, "You're Goose, right?" I said, "Yeah, man." He said, "Man, I can't believe you scored 41 in the championship game," and he started rattling off all this stuff.
Wow.
And it's been a few days ago since I last played here. It's been a few days.
Yeah.
But he took the time to learn about me. He didn't know who I was. He looked. He must have asked somebody. But that, number one, put him in favor with me.
Oh, yeah.
But then, of course, today I'm standing over here with you, and he comes over and says, "Mr. Givens, how you doing?" I said, "I'm good, man." I said, How are you liking it?" He said, "Man, I'm on the University of Kentucky basketball team. How can it get any better?" So if he says nothing else to me the rest of his career here, I like that dude, man. I like him.
Might be a favorite.
Yeah, he's a favorite.
I didn't have a chance to ask him this in the interview. You can save this for your post-game radio.
Sure.
He can solve a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah,
That's a smart guy.
Well, we're going to have a lot of trips together.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have him on the plane or on one of the bus rides teach me how to do it, because I've never been able to figure that out.
I am really looking forward to seeing him run the team. But 2 or 3 guys are capable of doing that.
Yeah.
And like I said to him, he hit our radar, really. If you love college basketball, you remember him from the Final Four a couple years ago.
Yeah, he made that shot, man. Now, I got to tell you, my daughter Jamie went to school at Florida Atlantic University, played basketball there, and we were sitting together watching the game, and of course she's going crazy because FAU has never gotten that far, and she's just loving it. And man, he knocked that shot down. And I said, I hope I never see him again because he broke my little girl's heart. And here he is playing with Kentucky, man. And as I said, he's already my favorite.
I was gonna
so
say.
I have a short memory when
Have
it
you
comes
told
to
Jamie
that
this
kind
yet?
of stuff. Oh, she already knows. She already knows. But yeah, he is a leader. He is a guy that's going to be called on to kind of pull things together at times when they might be struggling. That graphic speaks to the experience of the team, and he is one of those guys who brings a lot of that experience.
Yeah, made the all-tournament team as a junior, and was also named the Defensive Player of the Year his junior year by the media. So you know how special he is as a defender. He'll break your heart with a jump shot. Does run in the family. Sister Amani played college hoops at Arizona and then Seattle U. So comes by his skills honestly. And a guy who gives Mark Pope another set of options when it comes to his tools, his skill set.
And he's a coach on the floor.
Yeah.
And that is probably the most important thing with this guy. And we talked about Mark and how he allows players to kind of coach each other. He has already given Lamont Butler a lot of that kind of leeway when it comes to making sure everybody knows what's going on the floor, what's supposed to be happening. He is that kind of player.
Number 5 all-time at San Diego State in steals, and on the all-time list, number 6 in the Mountain West among conference games, number 9 in total wins. So he just knows winning.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell him. I haven't had a chance to tell him, but I was in San Diego back in August and got to go up on the setting on the campus. San Diego State, man.
Yeah.
You're talking.
Nice?
It would be very difficult to focus on school with campus as it's set up in the overlooking the. Oh man, it's beautiful.
Well, I've
tell
actually
him that.
been there twice with the Kentucky baseball team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they played back when Tony Gwynn was here. And played in the Tony Gwynn Classic after he passed. So
it's gorgeous out there.
But he said he loves being here.
Well, he has to love it here because of this opportunity that has been presented to him. I mean, guys dream of stuff like this, and he's playing with that chip on his shoulder because everybody's going to be wondering who these guys are. Are they good enough to play on this level? And
they know who he is.
They know who he is.
Yeah.
He's proven it. Yeah. But he also wants to show everybody that he's even better than what you might think.
You mentioned him being a coach on the floor. As a sophomore, he was San Diego State Scholar Athlete of the Year. So that obviously tells you a little bit about his brain power.
Well, not everyone on this team, not just this team, but anywhere else, is a Rhodes Scholar as Mark Pope was. But this guy's pretty close. He knows. He's a smart dude, man. He knows the game.
And when that's your point guard, you're a step ahead.
Yes, absolutely.
You're just tuning in. This is Pro Day, as you can see on the screen. Every NBA team has somebody looking in tonight, maybe more than one. That's Andrew Carr, the Wake Forest transfer.
One interesting thing, Gabe, about this drill they're working on right now, this 3-on-3. This drill teaches the players or shows the player that you should be one step ahead. You should already know what your next move with the basketball is going to be. 0.5 seconds is all that ball should be in your hand. That ball should already be moving, and you should be you should already know where that ball is going.
Tell everybody who that rule is named after.
It's named after Greg Popovich.
Yeah.
It's a pop drill. You have to know before you even catch the ball what your next move is. That's why you see guys shoot the basketball so quickly. The ball gets out of their hands because that is one of those things you can see happening no matter what the defense is doing. You should know if you're open before the ball gets there, and then if the defense adjusts, then you got to make that pass.
When we come back, we'll hear from a young man who knows Mark Pope probably better than any of these players. Jackson Robinson, he's up next on SEC Plus. Jackson, I know a lot of you dream of playing in the NBA. Everybody dreams of playing in the NBA. What skill set do you hope to show off to the scouts tonight?
I'd probably say my defensive versatility. Just trying to make plays on the defensive end and bring energy to the team, to my squad, lead the guys, and hopefully whatever we're doing, come out with a win.
Well, you're known as a scorer, but defense is what gives you pride, huh?
Yes, sir.
Why?
I just know it's something that I want to work on personally. I think it's something I can definitely get better at, and I got a lot of room to grow.
You were the sixth man of the year in the Big 12 last year. The year prior, you were the regular starter. What was that like for you mentally, emotionally, to make that change?
I don't think it wasn't hard. You know, doing what you have to do to win basketball games is what it comes down to, and I made that sacrifice, and that's what Coach Pope expects out of every one of his players. So just doing what I can with that and making the most of my opportunity.
How do you think you'll contribute to this team?
Leading the guys, like I said, just being a leader, going out and doing what I need to do, whatever that is that Coach Pope needs, and hopefully stepping up every night for my team.
Was it a simple decision for you to transfer in here? Because that's a big move.
Of course. Once I got done with the draft, I knew exactly where I wanted to go. I wanted to be with Coach Pope. That's been my coach for the last 3 years, so a lot of chemistry there, obviously, and me and him go way back. So I'm excited for this season.
You know his coaching style better than everybody. Not a lot of screaming and yelling. In fact, he'll lower his voice to make sure you're paying attention.
Right.
Quizzes you guys in practice, who's doing what are you supposed to be doing, and you've taken to that style of coaching, haven't you?
I have. I honestly, I love it. I think it keeps everybody engaged, keeps everybody involved. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a manager, a coach, a player. He's going to point you out and ask you a question in the middle of practice, so you better be ready. So it's something that I enjoy, honestly, and I'm excited.
As being a part of Kentucky basketball, no games yet, but you've been around this campus and these facilities for a long time now. Has it been what you'd hoped and what you thought it would be?
Everything I've hoped it would be. I mean, you look at Kentucky and all the greats that have come out of here, the championships. So I'm excited just to get out here in front of these fans and compete with my guys and hopefully win a national championship.
Great. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Jack, you can tell this young man already has a degree in communications. Did a great job on the interview, but he made the sacrifice, and yet it's a good lesson here. He came off the bench and led Brigham Young in scoring. First guy ever to do that in the history of BYU basketball.
Yeah, he is, number one, Gabe, after hearing that interview, I'm looking forward to my first opportunity to interview him also. It sounds to me like he's going to be a great interview, and with his experience, I can go into some stuff that I'm looking forward to going into with him. But he is one of those guys who is willing to do what it takes. Now, listening to that interview, you've heard Coach speak, right? You have coaches say what supposed to be said. Coach speak. Well, in that interview, I heard some players speak as well. For a guy who scores the ball like he does, the first thing out of his mouth, he's talking about improvement on the defensive end of the floor.
How about that?
That is player speak, and I think that comes from his time he spent trying to make the league this year, going to teams and working out, and I think maybe he heard you need to be better on defense, okay? So I'm glad to see that he is focused on that he wants to make that a real focal point of his game this year. Offense is going to be there for this guy. Again, you have to prove that you can do more, and that's one of the areas I'm looking forward to seeing him improve.
Well, 25 double-doubles last year, so
Yeah.
he can get it done scoring, but anytime you can improve your defense, you move up.
Yes.
Let's listen in once again to the coach. Mark Pope is wired for sound.
Use the top block now. He's chasing me. Watch. Now I'm coming right here for the ball. And what do I have that's super interesting? This rescreen now gets super fun, right? Both guys are on the wrong side. Hey, Jude, you going to miss a shot today? Come on, man. That's awesome. That's a big-time tip, kid. Great tip. Let's go. I want us to really fight ourselves to like be thinking ahead, and we're just not a stop team. We are not a stop team. We're not a stop and look and let the defense recover team. We keep these guys on their heels the whole night long. Just start right here, please. Start right here. Here we go. Let's go, pace.
Hey, so I'm talking to Walker Horn, one of the walk-ons, of course, the son of our pal Darren Horn, the head coach at Northern Kentucky, where the Wildcats played a blue-white game last year. Walker grew up in Austin, but was born in Milwaukee when Darren was coaching there for Marquette, just like assistant coach Cody Feger from Milwaukee, a fellow Green Bay Packers fan. So he can do no more. You got your favorite, I got my favorite now. But anyhow, getting back to what's important, the practice in front of us. Like we said, these are drills they do every day, and they're designed to obviously make them better players. But the guys there at the tables, they know what they're looking for.
Yes, and every NBA team is represented tonight, so that is really good to see. One thing I want to point out, because we haven't talked a lot about our bigs tonight. We've talked about shooting the basketball. He went up to Amari Williams and talked to him about tipping that ball in and getting active around the basket. I think that is going to be a huge, huge key for this team, how well they rebound the basketball and defend in the paint. So much with Mark Pope and his teams are focused around the three-point line and outside. But rebounding the basketball, because if you're going to shoot the ball as quickly as they want to shoot it, you have to have it. So rebounding is going to be a real key.
Well, and we just saw another one of the big Ansley Almanor 6'7" forward with that great feed. He had drained that three-pointer the previous possession, but he fed Otegoe for the bucket. So, again, a multi-skilled, multi-faceted big guy right there, and transferred in from Fairleigh Dickinson.
Yeah, absolutely. He is one of those guys that I have been pleasantly, I'm talking about really pleased with his game. I didn't know what to expect from him, Gabe.
Shoot it.
But for him at his size, and he's 6'7", all right, but he's also about 245, 250. So he's thick. He can bang around. But I was totally shocked that he pulls up and shoots the three as easily as he shoots it, and he's as comfortable shooting that. So that's going to make it very difficult to match up with him, because you can't bring a 6'9" guy out there to guard him on the perimeter, because he's good enough to put the ball on the floor.
All he did was lead the Northeast Conference in three-point shooting.
Exactly. So you have to guard him with a smaller player, and he can shoot over those guys. So he's been fun to watch and to kind of get to know this guy's style.
Tied a Fairleigh Dickinson record with 93 triples. And what's I think really interesting, Jack, is he must have been just a raw talent when he got there, because as a sophomore was named the conference most improved player. So that tells you obviously how much he's worked on his game.
Yeah, and just think if he can make a jump from where he was last year to what he can be this year on this stage, it's going to mean a lot to this guy.
Favorite player in UK history, Isaiah Briscoe, same high school.
Yeah, well, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Plays rough and tough like that also.
Why not aspire? Now, I was going to bring that up about the bigs, because watching them in practice, they are guys who can play with their back to the basket. They're not, and I know that's a thing this year, and they can step out. But that seems like bigs these days would rather step out first and think low post later. Not these guys.
Well, there are a couple of the bigs who, yes,
there he is
again. He man, I mean, he shoots it so easy. Thanks for doing that on cue, man. I appreciate that. But these bigs, and it's interesting because you don't hear that post-up game stressed a lot when you talk about Mark Pope and what he does. But there are a lot of opportunities for the bigs to show what they can do in the paint. Another good thing with the bigs, Gabe, as you watch these guys scrimmage, is that they can bring the ball up the floor. At least they can initiate the fast break. They all feel comfortable getting it, patting the ball on the floor 2 or 3 times to advance it up the floor. And that is huge because those shooters now can go and find their spot in the transition and makes it easier for them to shoot it.
Andrew Carr transferred in from Wake Forest. Another big who can shoot it.
Speaking of bigs.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6'11", plays like he's about 6'7" when it comes to what he can do on offense. But he also has the ability to post up down there.
Yep.
And he's good going to the left. He's good going to the right. So he's another tough assignment for a defensive team.
Started all 35 games at Wake Forest. Well, he's played a lot of basketball. That's Oteg Owe.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about him, have we?
The Oklahoma transfer.
Oh, man.
You know his brother plays linebacker for the Ravens.
Well, you look at how he's built,
yeah.
And he could play there as well. And folks, don't be surprised and think, man, they're shooting a lot of three-point shots. This is how they want to play. They want to shoot the threes. Yes, it goes up quickly. But when you have the green light, that's all you need.
We'll step out. It's Kentucky Basketball Pro Day at historic Memorial Coliseum. Back with more in a minute here on SEC Plus. Welcome back to UK Basketball Pro Day at Memorial Coliseum, historic Memorial Coliseum. Dick Gabriel, Jack Givens, getting to know these Wildcats, and some folks in the community got a chance to get to know them well because under Mark Pope, they have learned to give back.
That is obviously a big part of Kentucky basketball, building the Habitat House here and doing what we do when we build. I've participated a couple times, and there are so many nails in those places. They stand up through anything, because that's one thing we all can do is drive a nail. But they visit hospitals. They do so many things in the community. But that has always been a huge part of Kentucky basketball, and it's just something guys love to do, to give back a little bit.
Yeah, the home building, the visit to the Ronald McDonald House, but you know, it's great to pay visits and shake hands and all, but to hammer a nail and help a family move into a new home, that's got to be so gratifying. And as you can see, it's real work.
And Gabe, you know, it's one thing when the cameras are there and you're performing, doing your thing when cameras are there. But the thing I really like is all of the times when these guys get involved, when there is no camera, where no one knows. The hospital visits, just going to see a kid or going to see a senior citizen who might be on cancer bed or some other issue. They do a lot of that kind of stuff. Go to schools to visit elementary schools and that kind of stuff. You get to see some of it, but you don't even know a fraction of all the stuff they do.
That's true. And as often as not, it's kids and guys this age revert to being kids themselves, don't they?
Oh, they know. It hasn't been that long ago for them. That they were the age of the folks they're going to visit.
Learning to fall in love with this game.
Learning to play basketball. And just to go to a school and to shoot a couple of shots with some kids, or we would ride around sometimes, Gabe, in the neighborhoods, and we might just be going to visit people, but there might be 2 or 3 kids in a driveway shooting baskets. And in Kentucky, that's everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And we would stop. I say we, myself and James Lee, as we would ride around Lexington, any of the other players, we'd stop and we'd play one-on-one or two-on-two with these kids. And I didn't block many shots, but every now and then, I'm just kidding. I dominated them, man. I was just slapping shot. I was doing it all. But those kind of things and those kind of times are the ones that make the best memories, not just for the kids, but for us.
I would love to hear from some of those kids who've grown up now.
Oh, man.
About the day that the car pulled up and who steps out. And you guys were so well known, just like these guys are beginning to become well known. Folks tonight, I think, are putting faces with names. We're glad we can do that tonight. And the tall guy in the back with the whistle, Mark Pope, you already know him. And he's wearing a microphone for us tonight. Let's listen in once again. Mark Pope is wired.
Good hands, Mont. Good hands, Mont. It's all right. Good hands, Mont. Go! We gotta go! BG, you gotta get out way faster, BG. Come on, baby. KDA, catch first. Win the gap, win the catch, win the gap. Yep, all the stuff. Yeah, boys, that's big-time basketball. Woo! Hey, I would love for, hey, you kind of jumped in the air, kind of hoping to make it. I'd rather have you do your work on the ground and then jump to execute the pass, not to find it, okay?
Sharing the knowledge with number 9, Trent Noah from Harlan County, who lit up Rupp Arena, just didn't light it up quite as much as Travis Perry, but he's a guy who's going to, I think, play some really, really good basketball here. So will Travis.
Yeah, you know, Trent Noah is one of those guys that I'm just glad he's on our team because he was earmarked to go to South Carolina.
Right.
And I have been around Kentucky basketball for a long, long time, Gabe. And every time one of those guys get away from us, they go somewhere else and then they light us up when we run into them. I could see that happening. So I'm glad Mark Pope jumped on him and jumped on him quickly and convinced him to come here instead.
Interviewed him on a radio show, and all he would say is, now I'm where I belong.
Yes.
Which tells you pretty much everything you need to know. And he'll learn. I mean, he's playing against bigger guys and stronger guys.
And it may not show this season, Gabe. It may not.
That's
right. He knows he's got to work, got a lot of learning to do. But he's getting better and better every day.
And you know why he's wearing number 9?
I do not.
That is the number, the banner number they're chasing.
Oh, I like
9th
that.
national title.
I like that.
I thought you would like that. That's Travis Perry.
I love it. He's another one that has looked really good in practice, shooting the ball extremely well. He gets on a roll, and there's just no missing. But the thing that has surprised me the most watching him is how good a passer he is.
He was that in high school.
He was a good passer in high school, but he finds guys. If you move and if you get open, he is going to get you the ball. So I was pleased to see that he's as good a passer as he
averaged 31 a game, but also 6 assists per game.
Right, right.
And you know what's interesting too, Jack, is he played in high school under his dad. So now he's learning to play under a new head coach.
Yeah, and the other thing that I just love him for, but I'm envious, he's a scratch golfer. He's a scratch golfer, man, and I've been playing a lot of years, and I scratch a lot, but it's because of mosquito bites and stuff, man.
What are you down to?
Well, I'm on a good day. I'm about a 12.
Well, that's not too shabby.
No, but my dream. I dream of just shooting par. I shot 73 once. But I'm going out with him. We've already talked about it. I said, man, I'm open for lessons. So I'm going to teach him how to fish, how to be a better fisherman, because I've taken some of the guys fishing.
Right.
But he's going to give me a golf lesson.
I was going to say, you're spending too much time fishing and not practicing your golf.
Well, I am. But, man,
you can't pass it up.
When you run as much as I do, man, getting out on that lake and just chilling out, the phone, no phone, all that stuff, it's hard to pass that up.
Yeah. There are a lot of athletes on this campus who love to fish. Winding down here, Kentucky Basketball Pro Day. You've seen them knock down some long shots. You've seen the big guys play inside. And You've seen them play together. They're still learning every time they go out on the court, Jack.
Yes.
They're
yes.
going back to school in each other.
Well, it's going to take some time, Gabe. You bring, 13, 14, 15 new pieces in. None of these guys have played together. None of them know what the other guy likes to do, what he wants to do, where he's comfortable catching the basketball, how he is going to deliver the ball to you. You're learning all that kind of stuff. Who's going to go get a rebound? Do I have to go get every one? You know, you're learning everything about each other. So it's going to take some time, but they have come a long way already, and they're going to continue to get better.
Colin Chandler, a freshman, at the other end of that fast break, but you saw Carr bring the ball up the floor.
Yeah, 7-footer bringing the ball up the floor. So that is one of the many great things about having the bigs that Mark Pope has brought together on this team. Versatile guys who can do many different things.
A lot of new faces came from all over the country, coast to coast. You know, and the portal has changed college basketball, but very few teams, if any, have had to throw together a roster the way Mark Pope did.
No.
And he took his time, as you said.
Well, the thing I really like in the situation we were in is used to be you lose players and you start from scratch. Now you can go out and get guys, and although I'm not the biggest fan of the transfer portal, this is one time that it came in big time for Kentucky.
Well, the referees, it looks like, I don't know if they're taking a break or leaving, but.
Well, I think the refereeing is over. These guys now going to end up with a lot of shooting drills and conditioning, and you'll see the bigs shoot the 3-ball just like you will the guards, but they'll do a lot of shooting. They'll get up and down the floor. This is now conditioning time, and I like conditioning with the ball. The last thing I wanted to do was to get on that line and run suicide drills at the end of the day. So these guys go up and down the floor, but you're doing it with a shot at the end,
a reward
as opposed to a shot clock ticking down 3, 2, and you're at the free throw line.
Back on that?
Oh my goodness, am I ever? You're at the free throw line and that clock is on 3 and it's now 2, and you got to get to that end zone line, that baseline before that horn sounds.
Did you ever lay out?
Oh my, no, I didn't try that hard.
No?
You know me. I mean, but.
We'll step out, come back to historic Memorial Coliseum. It's Kentucky Basketball Pro Day here on SEC Plus. Back at historic Memorial Coliseum, Dick Gabriel with the All-American Jack Givens, who you will hear alongside our man Tom Leach on UK Radio this coming season. You've really enjoyed that transition.
Oh, it's been fun. It's been fun. Working with Tom is great, and being back around the college game a little bit. I'd gotten into the NBA for many, many years, so getting back to see college basketball, and especially college basketball here at Kentucky, has been just a blessing and a dream.
So many scouts here today, and this is, you got to give John Calipari credit. He came up with the idea to have a private combine, basically, at the University of Kentucky, because there were so many requests to come to practice by so many scouts. But how much has scouting, Jack, changed from the time you were scouted as a player, your work with the Orlando Magic, to now?
Well, it has changed because everything is so high-tech now. And the thing that figures into it that a lot of people don't realize is stuff off the floor. Everybody can see what you do on the floor. But now more so than ever before, coaches on the next level, general managers on the next level, they want to know what kind of guy is this off the floor. Character issues, if any. I have, last 2 years, I've had so many coaches call and ask me what I thought about this guy and that guy, and They didn't want to know about what happens on the basketball court.
They can see it.
How is he traveling around? What kind of guy is he in the community? And that is the thing that is getting bigger and bigger when it comes to recruiting.
Well, the contracts are getting bigger and bigger. The
Yes.
investment literally getting bigger and bigger. I remember Rick Pitino telling me that a lot of, and this is back in the early 90s, a lot of teams are starting to hire like private investigators.
Oh, they do.
Background checks. I mean,
They
yeah, but why
absolutely
not?
do.
When
Yeah.
you're putting the future of your franchise on an 18 or 19-year-old, not to mention the money, you got to know what you're getting, right?
Yeah, and it's important for the players to know that and to know it like immediately, because, you know, it follows you everywhere you go, man. What kind of guy is this dude, man? I can't take a chance on him.
They're the drills you hated so much.
Oh, man,
Now,
I hate watching it.
my man Cameron Mills, again, came on the radio with me and was talking about this drill one of the days he was at practice. And the assistant coaches keep an eye on who touches the end line.
Yes.
And if somebody's short, and if they're short, they go again.
Yes.
And Mark Pope pulled the players aside and he put his foot on the end line. First he put his foot about a foot and a half away from it. Said, guys, this is the Final Four. Then he put his foot on the end line and said, this is a national championship.
That's right.
That's the difference.
Yeah, the thing you know, we used to go through these drills, and I really didn't get concerned with how much running we were going to do until the managers started pulling garbage cans out to the side of the court. Once that started to happen, I was like, uh-oh, man, this is going to be a tough one here.
And tell everybody as politely as you can
Yes.
what the garbage cans were for.
The garbage cans, sometimes you would run and you would start to get lightheaded or dizzy. And whatever you had for lunch
You'd see it again.
starts to bubble up a little bit. And you have to kind of figure out, what am I going to do with this? And you see the garbage cans, and that tells you, oh, yeah, now I know. So that's what the garbage cans
Do you think
were for.
deep down that pleased the coaches when you had to pay the garbage can a visit?
I don't know that it pleased them, but I've never seen Coach Hall cheer so much as the time I went over there and had to bend over. I'm not saying he was pleased or anything, but he sure seemed like he was liking what he was seeing.
Well, and that brought me to my next question. Joe Hall, I won't say he revolutionized, but he was in early on conditioning, on weightlifting. He started out as an assistant.
Oh, he
here.
did. Yeah. He was the man when it came to.
I mean, Pat Riley went to Adolph Rupp and said, or Dan Issel did, can you get this guy to back off? And the story goes, Rupp promised Issel, you'll be the all-time leading scorer if you'll lead these guys through this, and he did, and he was.
Yeah, it changed preseason conditioning. We used to think that there's no way we can lift weights as much as we did and still be able to shoot the basketball. Well, Pat Atchbury, who was the strength and conditioning guy at the time, he did everything he possibly could to prove us wrong.
He molded a lot of elite athletes.
Yes, he did.
He did you guys well.
Yes, he did.
He did you guys right.
Yeah, he was big time, big part of our success.
In just a moment, we're going to visit with Mark Pope, find out what he has seen, as some of the scouts are starting to scatter a little bit. But Pro Day is, for the most part, over. But these scouts will check and recheck, and we'll see them at games all year long. Some of these guys you played against.
Yes,
and one of these guys who's sort of independently here watching, your old teammate Kevin Greavy.
Grieve has been a scout evaluating talent for
30
years.
Yeah,
many years. Of course, I learned a lot from Kevin when he was playing at Kentucky, and he went on and won a championship with the Washington, at the time, the Washington Bullets.
Teammate of Wes Unseld.
Wes Unseld, and a lot of other good players on that team. But Kevin's been a scout for a long time, and he is one who would call me and say, hey, what do you think about this guy? What kind of guy is this one? And we always enjoyed talking basketball.
Left-handed shooter, just like you.
Yes.
And when you joined his team, you and James and Rick Roby and Mike Phillips as freshmen. You guys took a team that had gone 13-13 the year before, my freshman year.
Right.
When I tried to cover your team a little bit for the school paper, everybody was unhappy.
Oh man, that's putting it nicely.
And the following year, you go to the Final Four.
Yeah, we grew that next year, no question about it. We became defensively, we became one of the better defensive teams in the country, and that helped us win a lot of ball games, no doubt about it.
Well, you didn't have to play a whole lot of defense at Bryant Station. You had to learn quickly, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I did, but when you're playing against the kind of guys I had to play against, you know, coming in as a freshman, guarding Grieve every day, you better learn. If not, he's going to make you look bad every day, and he did that for a long time. He did that.
You guys on that team, you had great leadership. You had Jimmy Dan, and it might have been one of the greatest leaders ever. The veterans, you know, Mike Flynn and Kevin we talked about.
7 seniors.
But you've got, and I was about to say, you've got similar, probably more experience on this team. Now, you guys, those guys all played together for 4 years.
Yeah.
But
makes
still, it's invaluable, isn't it?
Makes a big difference playing together, but it makes a huge difference having that kind of experience on the floor that this team has. I mean, guys who have been through the ringers, they know how to play. They've experienced just about everything you can experience, not withstanding a tough SEC schedule, because Kentucky basketball, SEC basketball, is as tough as any conference you're going to play in, especially what these guys have faced. So that's going to pose some problems in itself. But these guys are going to be able to adjust and make it work.
You got a good look at number 5, Colin Chandler, Trent Noah, number 9, 2 of the true freshmen. One of the bonuses here, Jack, is they get to relax a little bit and learn how to play basketball. And they're going to learn from this guy, head coach Mark Pope. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Tell us, what did you think? What did you see tonight?
I love this gym. I love this gym so much.
It is good basketball.
First of all,
gym,
you guys like, man, you were supposed to be done 26 minutes ago. We just can't get enough.
Yeah. It is a great building to play in.
You did some work in here.
I played my first first 2 seasons I played in this building. Yeah. And I said, and you probably felt it as you practiced in this building some, there was something about this building that the great players who have played here, you just felt basketball as you walked in.
Yeah. And then the moments we had here that were not in front of people, like, I mean, I have so many moments, but I'll never forget. So Nazir Muhammad played 18, 19 years in the NBA, is now on his way to being a general manager of the NBA team. One of the most epic careers of any player here. Won a national championship. And I remember Nazir as a freshman, and coach is killing us. He's killing us. And you had to make a time before you could get off the floor. So Nazir's still running. Everybody else on the floor, he's a freshman. He's just grinding, trying to get his body in shape. And so he's run like his, I don't know what it is, 107th ladder. And he came to the finish, and we're all standing here sitting at the baseline, and Nazir dives to try and get across the line, literally right there in that spot, right by the K.
Yes.
And dives across the line, and coach is like, nope, get back on the line. And I remember Nas, I'm talking about tears, man.
Yeah.
Tears.
Been there, done that.
And then because this guy paid the price, he played 18, 19 years in the league.
And that's the hard thing. And I've heard you say it, but that's the hard thing. Touching the lines, for instance, getting all the way there. It's hard for players at this age to know what that extra little bit might translate into.
Yes. And right now, I mean, we're trying to be the best, which is our lofty goal. You're not the best by a large margin. You're the best by the tiniest of margins. So the more tiny margins you can put together. And so what was fun about practice today was there was some really broken execution and some sloppy stuff, but there were also some moments where guys inside showed up and how they responded to something very, very specific. And we're super encouraged by seeing that from our guys.
You know, we've talked, Mark, about Gabe and I talked a lot about bringing all these pieces together and figuring out how to make a team. out of all these pieces. How is that coming along?
I think it's been really fun because we have unbelievable. So you know what? When we hit little rocky patches like you do every training camp, every summer, we do with our staff, like what we believe in is people, right? And on this roster, we have really special elite level people that are also terrific basketball players. And so, you know, I just have a ton of confidence in this group because of the character of these guys and their commitment. They're really working to learn how to love each other. It's going to be a special group, and it's going to be incredible to watch these guys. And as BBN, as Kentucky fans, we're going to love watching these guys. And we're going to actually have some guys step up and have epic years and go on to have big-time professional careers and really serve this team and this state along the way.
Did you know that aspect about the players when you went to get them? I'm talking about what kind of people they were. Did you know that?
Well, it's a little bit of our filter. It's kind of a little bit about how we operate. And we're really brutally honest and transparent in the recruiting process. And so you kind of filter yourself out a little bit if you're not grounded. Like we talk about how important banners are here, and so if the only thing you're worried about is other things, if that's not a part of what you're worried about, you'll filter yourself out. If you're not here to learn how to love a team and connect, then you're going to kind of filter yourself out. So you have a vibe of that and if you're not actually starving to become a big time pro, you're going to kind of filter yourself out. And so what you end up with is a good chance of getting great people. We suspected that, but over the 8-month summer, the 4-week in the fall, and then at a banner camp that we just finished up a few days ago, I'm more confident than ever that we have really extraordinary people.
I got to think, Mark, that was a key element in how you put this team together, because you're putting it together in a unique way in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
You don't have time to fool with someone who's going to be a bad apple, right?
Yeah, and that's really important. And then and so all of that works together. It's huge. Listen, you know, you can always look at rosters on paper, okay? And a lot of times teams live up to what they are on paper. Sometimes they don't live up to what they are on paper. But what makes teams special is all the connective tissue, the special sauce, what you had with your guys. Like you guys won a championship because, you know, those guys knew they needed to get you the ball, and they wanted to get you the ball, and you guys loved each other enough to take care of each other. And that connective tissue is, I think, what makes championship teams.
Well, I have one final question for you. I've been meaning to ask you this. I can't remember exactly how old you are, but you spent 3 years here, right? Comparatively speaking, that's not a long time, and yet it is a part of you now. And I know you're hoping it becomes a part of them. So tell me how you relay that to them.
Well, it's a lot of different ways. One is exposing them to BBN, because, you know, the beautiful thing about all the guys that have transferred here is they have a frame of reference. So they actually know there's nothing like this in college sports, right? And that's a gift I had. I played my first 2 years at Washington, so when I came here, I'm like, wow, this is like nothing in the world. Whereas sometimes freshmen come in and think, oh, this is just what college basketball is. They have no idea. So that's one thing. And then the second thing is, like, we have these beautiful young men that are crushing it from the state of Kentucky that just ooze out the belief and faith in this place. And we talk about the history, and we're blessed to have great foreign players like Jack that come around all the time and kind of share with our guys. And then also it's just this guys connecting with each other like that. The understanding of how special this is can also come from within our group, from us making it sacred, right? And that's what the guys are trying to do right now.
Mark, thanks so much.
Thanks,
Congratulations.
You guys are awesome.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Okay, brother.
Successful night, pro day. It's over here at the University of Kentucky. That's Mark Pope, the head coach. That's Jack Givens, part of the history from here at historic Memorial Coliseum. Jack, any final thoughts?
Well, mainly to Mark, because he has done a great job of getting us old guys back involved in the program. And for us, it's big, but I've always thought that's a big part of Kentucky basketball, so we are glad to have Mark here.
Great to work with you again, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks to our hardworking crew. That's going to do it from historic Memorial Coliseum. That's it for Jack Givens, Dick Gabriel. Good night from Lexington.